As you enter the front room of Mike's Music, you are immediately surrounded by three walls of vintage Gibson guitars, classic Les Pauls, SGs, Flying Vs, Melody Makers, 335s, and much more. You'll also see vintage effect pedals, strings, and current music publications, all gathered here in the Gibson Room. As you walk through the doorway into the middle room on the first floor, you'll discover the Fender Room. This room showcases all the desirable and rare Fender guitars and amplifiers from Fender's golden era. The Telecaster in all its incarnations. The ever-sturdy, perfectly designed Stratocaster. The classic Fender Jaguar. Even the classic Mustang. Of course, you'll also find rare and wonderful early Fender gear, like these amplifiers with the original Fender logo and nameplate. Check out this huge selection of classic Fender amplifiers. Completing our tour of the first floor is the third room, the Amplifier Room. Every guitarist appreciates the many tones and sheer power of these vintage amplifiers. Marshall, Vox, Orange, Custom, and many more. Next, and up the stairs, we walk past classic guitars like Mosrite and Danelectro, up to the second floor, where we find three rooms: the acoustic room, the bass guitar room, and the drum room. The acoustic room displays classic vintage acoustic instruments in pristine condition. This room is climate controlled, with the humidity regulated to ensure an optimum environment for these masterpieces. Walk through the doorway and you're in the bass room. Bass players may choose from a generous selection of time-tested bass guitars. Hofner, Rickenbacker, Fender, Gibson, and various unique bass guitars and bass amplifiers. At the rear of the second floor is the vintage drum and percussion room. You will discover drums and percussive gear from Ludwig, Rogers, Gretsch, and much more. Also, here on the second floor, keyboard players will delight in a wonderful selection of vintage keyboards. Our final stop leads to the third floor. Here, you'll find even rarer vintage electric and acoustic guitars, as well as other stringed instruments. The seasoned maple, mahogany, and spruce wood of the vintage instrument grows more resonant and handsome as time passes. Faded inlays, seated in rosewood and maple fingerboards, framed by frets and binding which have sounded the notes of a million dreams and inspirations. Such is the essence of the vintage guitar. Like the human face, time etches character lines and substance upon the finish of these finely crafted masterpieces. These instruments are oral and visual testimony of time-tested quality. Mike's Music understands the value of time-tested quality instruments. Whether you're a collector or first-time buyer, you'll discover a world-class selection of fine vintage instruments and accessories. Mike's Music is located at 2615 Vine Street in the heart of Corryville, across from the University of Cincinnati campus in Cincinnati, Ohio. Just 1 mile from Interstate 75 or Interstate 71. You may also log on to mikesmusicohio.com or call 513-281-4900. Store hours are 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday Eastern Time. Visit Mike's Music today